and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another After Hours TBR. This is where I use my After Hours library heist game to decide what I'm going to read this month, except it's September and therefore we are also doing the magical readathon. As I sit here and record this bit, I have no idea what the prompts are, and I have no idea what my TBR for that portion is going to look like, because it's actually not until 7 o'clock this evening that the video comes out. However, I have been really good at getting ahead on my filming, because as you can see there are still books behind me and I'm still currently filming my Pack or Pass series that I need to do before I move house in 3 days. So I thought I'll film it now so I can put my TBR together and then schedule it for later, but that means that I'm going to be filming more of this and then working out what I can read for 𝚘𝚎 later. I do have books that are already on my TBR. So as you'll have seen in the thumbnail, I was gifted an art copy of Sister in the Wind by Angelina Booley. This is an Indigenous American mystery from the author of Firekeeper's Daughter, and an arc given to me by Rock the Boat. I have never received an arc from Rock the Boat before, and I'm really excited to get to this. The release date for this is September 2025, so I'm quite excited to be reading it just slightly ahead of everybody else, because it's one of my favourite authors. Like, they're just fantastic. And I realised that I hadn't actually read Warrior Girl Unearthed, which is another book by the same author. So 2 books are going to automatically be on my September TBR because I'm just really excited to get to them. So thank you again, Rock the Boat, for gifting me an arc. I am going to prioritise these 2 reads. Then obviously I have my Patreon bingo pick, which I will not be revealing here, but my patrons will have seen by now, which is very exciting. So every month I create a poll where I give 4 prompts for my patrons to choose, and then we read the book based on that prompt together in a little bingo board form each month. Because it is September, it is time for another classic, so that's really exciting. But yeah, I'm always really looking forward to these ones. They're books that really keep me on my toes and help me read more widely in the Gothic genre, which is always fun. Other than that, I don't have anything that I have to read, so I'm going to set my main TBR and then hope that it kind of translates to something that I can double up with for 𝚘𝚎. So I'm going to aim for a lot of historical fictions and fantasies and hope for the best. So here is that, and then I will put my TBR together and panic shortly after. Okay, so I want to get as many fantasies and historical fictions on as possible, so that we can do 𝚘𝚎 proud. I'm going to grab a mystery thriller because I cannot resist. I'm going to follow it all the way down. So I am notoriously really bad. Cheeky another. I am notoriously really bad at fantasy. At mystery thriller part 2. 𝚘𝚎. I never finish my TBRs. Ever. Even when I've stole TBRs from other people, I never finish it. There's loads of horrors and gothics. The one time I don't want loads of horrors and gothics. Where were you last month? That's my question. I need fantasies. I need blue. We're looking for blue. Let's grab another historical. And it is also really concerning that I am doing this before the 𝚘𝚎 TBR prompts are released, because I've just got to hope that these are similar. I'm starting to fade. We are running out of time. Come on. Come on. There's another fantasy. Sure, another historical. Let's go romance. Oh, nearly. No, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it to the next room. Come on. Come on. Oh, and there's another fantasy. Ah! I nearly made it in one. Oops. I put that there. Nearly made it in one, but not completely. So we have historical fiction next in a series. Am I reading any historical fiction series? I mean, one, but I haven't picked it up in some. Okay, at least one. Thriller mystery, disabled character. Thriller mystery, disabled author. Okay. Fantasy, no "the" in the title. Tricky. Horror, booktuber's worst of the previous year. Brilliant. Historical fiction, undefined. That is essentially, I can do whatever I like with that one, because that's just where the things messed up a little bit. Fantasy red cover. Historical fiction lowest rated. Romance, no the in the title. And then fantasy sci-fi origin story. This might be the worst TBR I've had all year. And considering it's split between 3 genres I adore, that's saying something. Obviously, the disabled rep, great. But next in a series for historical fiction, Booktuber's worst of the year, and 2 no-thers. This is not ideal. However, we persevere. I'm going to go away and put this TBR together, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, I did panic. There was panicking. I've actually managed to turn that terrible TBR into something pretty good. So here is that. The first thing on my list is a historical fiction next in the series. Now, I was going to pick up a Cadfael book, which are books that my dad has. Now, I've read 3 or 4 of these, but not in order. But they are a series that I could pick up another book in. And then I remembered that this exists. I read A Natural History of Dragons and want to read A Tropic of Serpents by Marie Renan, which is essentially historical fiction but with dragons. It's a really, really good series, a really, really gentle series, and probably perfect for September and that dark academia vibe. Also, dragons was one of the prompts for the spring equinox, so I was not expecting it to be a prompt for the autumnal equinox. There is a chance there might be prompts adjacent to those and that it maybe ties all together. I have my fingers crossed that I will be able to use this one for a magical readathon prompt. The second prompt that I'm doing as an audiobook is All Hallows by Christopher Golden, and this is for Booktuber's worst of the previous year. I was really excited about this when I saw this, and it is one of the ones that every time I get it in stock on Waypoint Books, it sells out immediately. So I haven't actually had a chance to read it yet. But Trina Brown, who's a YouTuber that I discovered, is big into horror, hated it. So it was in their worst of their horror books. So this is on my TBR now. This is like a Hansel and Gretel creepy Halloween type vibe. Kids are going missing. Something weird is happening. I hope I like it more than she did. Then we have a slight change that I hope you will forgive me, purely because my TBR is lacking in thrillers / mysteries with disabled characters.
She don't see us?
Now I have The Coward, which is a disabled character in a literary contemporary, and I've TBR'd this a couple of times, but it is quite heavy and I always struggle in trying to get started with it. So I didn't want to TBR that one again too soon and then end up having to unhaul it because I'm not actually committing to it. So rather than having disabled main characters, I've gone for a thriller mystery with BIPOC characters. Now I appreciate they are not a 1-for-1 comparison, but they are another oppressed type people, and I thought maybe that would make it easier, if that makes sense. I'm really disappointed in my TBR that I do not have more books with disabled main characters. So if you have any thrillers, mysteries, fantasies, horrors, gothics, sci-fis with disabled main characters, please let me know, because my TBR is lacking. Big time lacking. So I've gone for The Promised Boys by Nick Brooks. This is about a group of lads who are accused of the murder of their principal because they are boys of colour, because they are black kids. They are accused of murdering their principal and they have to prove they didn't do it. And they kind of go out for some vigilante justice to find out who did actually kill their principal and why. And it just sounds really interesting and really good. I don't know much more about it. Not many people have talked about Promised Boys on YouTube from what I've seen, but yeah, I'm really excited to pick this one up. I think this is going to be a really interesting thriller. For thriller mystery that has a disabled author, I've gone for Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, who apparently was dyslexic. I didn't know this, which is really exciting, and is another BIPOC author. This is a iconic story that I have not actually, although I've seen YouTube videos about it and I've talked about it in lectures and things, I've never read the book Kindred, but this is a graphic novel version, so should be a quicker read, and I would really like to read the real thing. I might try and do both this month, but for now this is a copy that was unhauled to me from Olivia, so ticks off the prompt, and it's another book basically my TBR is always exclusively made up of books that Olivia gave me. So thank you, Olivia. I'm really, really excited to get to that one. For fantasy origin story, I'm going to be picking up How to Become the Dark Lord or Die Trying, and to Die Trying. I always think it's or Die Trying because that makes more sense to me, but alas. So this is about a young girl who has been the hero, but is basically stuck in a time loop. And every time she tries to do something heroic, it blows up in her face, she dies, and then she starts the day all over again, in a real like Groundhog Day type way. So she decides she's had enough, she's going to join the Dark Lord, she's going to be the Dark Lord, she's going to do villainous things. And I like the idea that it's a villain origin story, but with that twist. Plus, it's Django Rexler, who is a really great fantasy writer, like really in-depth world building, and quite a gentle fantasy writer as well. It's not super, super intense. Like, you can generally keep up, even when the world is massive and the books are expansive. The last book I read of his was like 600 pages long. So I'm quite looking forward to this one. I've been told that it's quite funny and it should be a really good time. So the lighter end of my TBR, I think. For a romance book with no "the" in the title, I'm going to be picking up Act Your Age, Eve Brown. I have been desperate to read this, and much like All Hallows, every time I go to pick this up, I end up selling it because it's technically stock. So the way my bookshop works is I don't have a lot of stock in, but when I do, it goes really quickly. So I have bought and sold Act Your Age, Eve Brown more times than I can count. So I decided, instead of ordering this through my bookshop, I will buy it in Waterstones, because it cost me more, I am less likely to get rid of it. And because I bought it for myself, from my shop, as opposed to as stock, I will actually read it. So I am finally going to be ticking off the third Brown sister in the Brown Sister trilogy. I adored Get a Life, Chloe Brown. That was like one of the books that I was like, oh my god, I do like romance. It just has to be a good romance. And then I found Take a Hint, Danny Brown was a little close to home for me, a little close to the things that I deal with, and that was personal, but I still really enjoyed it. And Act Your Age, Eve Brown is going to be great. Basically, if it's published by Payatkas, I know I'm gonna like it. I know I'm gonna like it, but Talia Hibbert just knows what she's doing. She writes great romances. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm really, really excited to have this one on my TBR. Then I had historical fiction worst rating, like worst average rating, which essentially is where I look at my own TBR on Goodreads and see which historical fiction has the lowest rating. There were 2 books that had a lower rating than this, but not by much, on my own TBR. However, I've already packed them and they're not here. So I couldn't remember if I'd got rid of them or not, because I haven't watched my videos back yet and I haven't unpacked my books. It's a whole thing. I couldn't remember if I owned them still or not. So I've gone for The Flames of Albion by Jean Menges. Now this is a Arthurian retelling historical fiction, from what I can remember. I'm pretty sure this is self-published. It feels self-published, although I do know they have a traditionally published book as well. But the rating on this was not wonderful. It came out at, I think something like 3.2 stars. So not bad, but not great. And considering I adore their DK books, and I really, really want to read their Lady of the Lake retelling, I'm a little worried. I didn't realise this was ranked so low. But here we are. And also I feel like, again, there's going to be stuff in this that ticks prompts for Aurelium, just to make my life easier. Plus the writing's massive, so that should help. Then I had Fantasy Red cover. Now, I know what you're going to say, this isn't red. And you're right. It's not a red cover. It is a red hardback. But that is the only red fantasy that I could find, and I wasn't in the mood for it. That's a lie. I am in the mood for it. It's more just I know it would be perfect for Gothtober, so I can't do it. I can't do it. So we're doing this. I've had this so long. I feel like I've had this longer than I've had any other book on my shelf. This was gifted to me. The Deckled Edge, I really enjoy. Can we bring back deckled edges? Can we have fewer sprayed edges and more deckled edges, please? I just think they're pretty. I know nothing. I love Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. And then I got gifted this. By whom? I don't remember. I don't remember. Before the time of Amazon slips was I gifted this. Haven't read it. Did buy the sequels, which also have red covers. So I need to get to this series. I've had it for so long. I need to just commit to it. So it's on the TBR. It's on the TBR. We're giving it a go. Now's the time. Then we had fantasy, a book without the in the title. A sorceress comes to call. It was close. It was nearly a the, but it wasn't quite a the, so we're allowing it. T. Kingfisher, I really enjoy their horrors, and I've only ever read Thornhedge as one of their fantasies, but I'm really looking forward to this one, and I also know that it is an audiobook that I've got in like a deal before, or it's in like the Audible Help Yourself ones, so I can be able to read and listen along. Know nothing about it other than it's T. Kingfisher, and I really enjoy her writing, so she's on my TBR. And then the last book, until I film my response later to Aurelium, is Lady Macbeth ad for my historical fiction Undefined, because I thought I already have Queen Macbeth on my TBR for August, which I haven't read yet. If I add this one, and then Macbeth, and then Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid, we are one step closer to just making it a vlog, aren't we? We can just do the whole thing. Oh yeah, it's gonna have to be a vlog, isn't it? I'm gonna have to do myself a Lady Macbeth vlog. It's on the TBR. It's happening. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know where you think I'm gonna start. We know where I'm gonna start. We know where I'm going to start, but let me know where you think I should start with this TBR. If you want to let me know you were here, feel free to leave a crown emoji. Treat yourself to something from Waypoint because it supports me and my content. Check out the links down below because I have a Patreon now. And most importantly, have a nice day.